Hello again, everyone. This is Dulu at Dulu's Reactions. Hope you're all well wherever you are in the world, and I hope you're all safe. Just coming back to you now with another reaction video. We're going to look at a video. I can't remember which one it is now, actually. And I think it's about and why India became two countries, if you like, or the partition in 1947-48. So we'll be reacting to that. Before I get started, please do like, share, and subscribe. And if you can make a contribution, there's a link to Ko-fi below. Make whatever contribution you wish. It'll help me carry on doing these things. So yeah, so we'll just get the video started. And there we go. I forgot what the title was. Oh right, yes, I remember. Yeah, I remember watching that many years ago. It's a very famous line from Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India. Yeah. Oh, the title of the video, by the way, was "Why Was India Split into Two Countries?" It's by Hemanti Roy. So it should be good.
In August 1947, India gained independence after 200 years of British rule. What followed was one of the largest and bloodiest forced migrations in history. An estimated 1 million people lost their lives. Before British colonization, the Indian subcontinent was a patchwork of regional kingdoms known as princely states, populated by Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Christians, Parsis, and Jews. Each princely state had its own traditions, caste backgrounds, and leadership. Starting in the 1500s, a series of European powers colonized India with coastal trading settlements.
That's important to remember. The division. India has been united a few times in its very long history. But what you must remember is India is actually now hundreds of separate states, and always has been really, split along caste lines, to a certain extent religious lines, but certainly linguistic lines as well. So that's very important to remember.
By the mid-18th century, the English East India Company emerged as the primary colonial power in India. The British ruled some provinces directly and ruled the princely states indirectly. Under indirect rule, the princely states remained sovereign, but made political and financial concessions to the British. In the 19th century, the British began to categorize Indians by religious identity, a gross simplification of the communities in India. They counted Hindus as majorities, and all other religious communities as distinct minorities, with Muslims being the largest minority. Sikhs were considered part of the Hindu community by everyone but themselves. In elections, people could only vote for candidates of their own religious identification. These practices exaggerated differences, sowing distrust between communities that had previously coexisted.
Just a note to modern far-right people and anyone who thinks that causing division and splits within a given society helps it. I'm afraid it doesn't. It's totally moronic. Always go for unity and try and overcome differences. It doesn't lead to anywhere good, both internally and especially externally, because others will come and others will take over your country if you're fighting amongst each other. It's never a good idea.
The 20th century began with decades of anti-colonial movements, where Indians fought for independence from Britain. In the aftermath of World War II,
I don't know what that means. Simon, go back. I've never heard that expression or seen that written in that way. I wonder what that means. Why Simon? That's interesting. Anyway, carry on.
Aftermath of World War II.
Sorry, go back a bit. Okay.
In the aftermath of World War II, under enormous financial strain from the war, Britain finally caved. Indian political leaders had differing views on what an independent India should look like. Mohandas Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru represented the Hindu majority and wanted one united India. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who led the Muslim minority, thought the rifts created by colonization were too deep to repair. Jinnah argued for a two-nation division where Muslims would have a homeland called Pakistan. Following riots in 1946 and 1947, the British expedited their retreat, planning Indian independence behind closed doors. In June 1947, the British Viceroy announced that India would gain independence by August and be partitioned into Hindu India and Muslim Pakistan, but gave little explanation of how exactly this would happen. Using outdated maps, inaccurate census numbers, and minimal knowledge of the land, in a mere 5 weeks, the Boundary Committee drew a border, dividing 3 provinces under direct British rule: Bengal, Punjab, and Assam. The border took into account where Hindus and Muslims were majorities, but also factors like location and population percentages. So if a Hindu majority area bordered another Hindu majority area, it would be included in India. But if a Hindu majority area bordered Muslim majority areas, it might become part of Pakistan. Princely states on the border had to choose which of the new nations to join, losing their sovereignty in the process. While the Boundary Committee worked on the new map, Hindus and Muslims began moving to areas where they thought they'd be a part of the religious majority, but they couldn't be sure. Families divided themselves. Fearing sexual violence, parents sent young daughters and wives to regions they perceived to be safe. The new map wasn't revealed until August 17, 1947, 2 days after independence. The provinces of Punjab and Bengal became the geographically separated East and West Pakistan. The rest became Hindu-majority India. In a period of 2 years, millions of Hindus and Sikhs living in Pakistan left for India, while Muslims living in India fled villages where their families had lived for centuries. The cities of Lahore, Delhi, Calcutta, Dhaka, and Karachi emptied of old residents and filled with refugees. In the power vacuum British forces left behind, radicalized militias and local groups massacred migrants. Much of the violence occurred in Punjab, and women bore the brunt of it, suffering rape and mutilation. Around 100,000 women were kidnapped and forced to marry their captors. The problems created by partition went far beyond this immediate deadly aftermath. Many families who made temporary moves became permanently displaced, and borders continued to be disputed. In 1971, East Pakistan seceded and became the new country of Bangladesh. Meanwhile, the Hindu ruler of Kashmir decided to join India, a decision that was to be finalized by a public referendum of the majority Muslim population. That referendum still hasn't happened as of 2020, and India and Pakistan have been warring over Kashmir since 1947. More than 70 years later, the legacies of the partition remain clear in the subcontinent, in its new political formations, and in the memories of divided families. When we read over accounts of the past, the perspectives of young people have often been left out, but it is vital that these experiences are shared and amplified. Educators, help your students tell their own stories at ed.
I think that's the end of the video. Yeah, so we'll just go back. Yeah, that was super interesting. Let me just go back so I can see. Yeah, that was this way a bit. Yeah, that was super interesting. I knew some of this from my reading many years ago, but it's all hazy in my memory now. But yeah, it's a very painful period. There was a reason why the Muslims and the Muslim leadership decided to split from India, and the reason primarily was that after I think it was the 1935 or 1937 local elections in all of India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, or what is now Bangladesh and Pakistan. Once the Hindus started to get elected, they were discriminating, and some of the Hindu leaders were discriminating against Muslims, and I think that scared many Muslim leaders into thinking what will happen to us when the British leave, because then the Hindu leaders, those who are right wing, will have full sway and there'll be nobody to stop them. And it was those fears really that made the Muslim leadership in India think that the Muslims need a separate country, and so that there was a background to it. It didn't just come out of thin air. But on the other, just the personal side of things, just human beings, it must be horrible, to live in a place for generations. It's your home, it's where you call home, where you come from, where your ancestors were, and then to suddenly, whether it's a village or a town or a city, to suddenly be yanked out of there and told to go somewhere else. I mean, it must have been absolutely horrible. And the sad fact of reality is it tends to happen to very poor people over and over again. they suffer a great deal, and it's always the women and the children also that suffer excessively. It's always been the case in war, unfortunately, probably always will be. But yeah, it's a horrible history, really, in many ways. Things are still very unsettled, and everything is still simmering regarding Kashmir to India and Pakistan. Um, Bangladesh is going through some political upheavals at the moment, with the Sheikh Hasina government being ousted by student demonstrations, and it's still a bit uncertain. But it doesn't have the same problems as perhaps India and certainly Pakistan does. So we certainly wish all the countries there well. Hope everything does does settle down, and we can just get along. We're separate countries now, separate peoples, but let's just get along and look to the future, because other parts of the world are going ahead. If you're still fighting with each other over silly things, you're not going to progress too far. So let's so hope the political leadership has the wisdom and the foresight to take their countries forward in peace and not do silly things. But there you go, that's my reaction. It's a very sad history, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please do like, share and subscribe, and make a contribution if you can to the Coffee link below. This is Dulu at Dulu's Reactions. Lovely to be with you again. See you soon. Bye for now.